Alone and lonely. What's the difference? So loneliness is basically the lack of real connections or deep connections with other people. So while you might have friends and you have your buddies, your coworkers, people you socialize with, you don't actually have that deep bonding connection. Versus alone is like kind of like the physical state you're in right now. Like I am alone in my room recording this video. I can still have friends, they're just not with me right now. And so I still have my bonds, my relationships with other people, they're just not with me right now. They go to another school, like that. But what is worse, being lonely or being alone? And honestly, the answer is pretty simple. Lonely is 100% much worse. It's basically, you don't actually have any meaningful connections with other people. You might have some shallow connections with coworkers, maybe some friends you're kind of one-off with, but those bonds with those other people aren't actually that deep. But being alone is kind of like a gateway to being lonely. Kind of like they taught you in school, weed is a gateway drug to cocaine and heroin. Well, here you go. Being alone is kind of a gateway drug to being lonely. And how that comes about is pretty much you're alone, but like most people, like, sure, you're alone, but you're only alone temporarily. At some point, you meet up with your friends, you make new friends, new connections, anything like that. But if you don't actively try to make new connections or new bonds or strengthen the ones you already have, then they're slowly going to fade away. So yeah, being alone is normal most of the time. It can lead to being lonely, and lonely is where you really start falling apart. You start spiraling out a little bit. Your mental health starts degrading because you just don't have socialization that the human mind really needs. So how do you avoid becoming lonely? And honestly, for me, it's like the perfect question I can answer, just because I kind of made myself lonely a few years ago. Like, I remember after high school, I went and instead of kind of keeping up my relationships with my friends or even trying to make new ones, I just kind of abandoned it all and started working a bunch. And I mean, yeah, sure, get the bread, get your money up, but it took me a long time to realize that I was actually lonely. Like, I had some coworkers I talked to, obviously, but those relationships were never deep or meaningful because that person that I was talking to could have been replaced with another person and I wouldn't have cared. And after a few months, I realized this lack of like just socializing with people really deteriorated my mental health. All of a sudden, I was craving this human connection that I didn't really know how to sustain anymore. And bringing myself out of it was pretty hard. Thankfully, I had friends from before that I just didn't maintain my connections with, so I was able to rebuild a little bit easier. I started trying to catch up with them, talk with them more, and rebuild that connection I had with them before, and then make it stronger. And honestly, to avoid becoming lonely, just don't isolate yourself. Try not, unless you really need to cut someone off because maybe they're really toxic on your life, or you just don't see yourself with them in the future, try and keep those relationships going, because you never know what might happen a year down the road or even a month down the road. And, also try to make those connections stronger. If you're doing the same thing every week, hitting a bar or just going on a walk together, those are good things, but like, try something new. Do some trauma bonding, go climb a mountain. Because your connections with other people grow as you create new memories together. So don't be boring. Go experiment, try something new, go to a comedy show, go hiking together, go to an arcade. It's all about making new memories together and just strengthening the bond you have with each other. But what can you do if you're both? You're lonely, you don't have those meaningful connections, but you're also alone a lot of the time. Say your work isn't very social, or the way your lifestyle is you set up is also not very social. You go to work, you don't really talk to anybody there. You go groceries and then you go home, and the next day starts and you haven't actually talked to anybody. When you're in that situation, how do you even go and make friends? How do you go and get to talk to other people? And this is kind of one of those situations where you're going to have to force yourself to socialize. You're going to have to create the opportunity to find someone to talk to. And initially, it might seem really daunting. I know that for sure. But humans are very social creatures, and we're kind of designed to try and fit into some communities. And sure, maybe finding a community online and talking to people there, like, it's easy. It works. You don't have to talk to someone face to face. You can just type on your keyboard, but it's not good enough for you. And you need to go out there, see someone face to face, talk to them one-on-one in a group, whatever it is. And you're just gonna have to get out there. And some of the easiest ways is honestly just go to a park, chill on a bench. You can join a CrossFit gym. Like, a lot of these places are built around having a community where people meet each other, they work together. Having a common goal or a common interest really helps too, right? You can go on Facebook and find groups in your area for probably just about anything. I know for a fact I can go on Facebook, I can find mountain biking groups, scuba groups, things like that, where you can just find a community of people that are brought together by a common interest, and you can just hop in there. And sure, it might be slow at first, but you start socializing with other people, you start meeting new people, you start making friends. Now you've built these connections where now you're no longer alone, but also you're no longer lonely. You can make these connections and you can start reinforcing those connections and create stronger and stronger bonds and friendships with all these people.